Hello everyone, welcome back to Sparecast Tech Review, a place you come to get knowledge on where to spend your money on the latest tech. Okay, today we're going to talk about high resolution audio players, or high resolution digital audio players. Before I dig too deep into this, I just want to say this for the record. This is for people that don't know anything about high resolution players. This is not for people that already have a background in it and they already understand and they already own one. This is for people that have no idea what a high resolution player is and they want to find out. So this is what this particular episode is concerning. So this is what I consider high resolution audio players 101. Okay, so why are high resolution players? Why are they even being spoken about? Well, I'll give you a little bit of history. MP3 files. Even though you can get a lot of files on your iPods, on your cell phones and iPads, whatever you play your music back on, you can get the music's highly compressed, so you can pack a lot of them in one little space or storage medium. But the problem you run into is that you're losing the quality of that audio. That MP3, you're not hearing what the artist that recorded that music intended for you to hear. You're losing certain symbols and there's certain instruments you just don't hear because it's basically been compressed out of it. So this is where digital or high resolution digital audio players come into play. You have I have two versions here. I have the Hiby BR6 Pro, and then I also have here the Sony NW-A45. And the reason why these high resolution players are such a big deal because they play audio back at resolutions or sampling rates that pretty much capture what you heard in the studio. Like your CD is normally played back at 44 kilohertz, which is fairly good because that particular sampling rate covers the human hearing range from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. But when you start having audio playback at 48 kilohertz, 98 kilohertz, was it 96 kilohertz and 192 kilohertz, you're getting basically at 24-bit because CD is normally 16-bit at 44 kilohertz, and now you're talking about audio files that's playing back at much higher sampling rates, so you get a more accurate sound. And these files, you'll always recognize a high resolution file. It'll either say FLAC, or it can be a WAV file, or it could be a DSD. There's different file types out there that line up with high resolution audio. So if you see, then most common one is the FLAC, FLAC. That's a common file for high resolution players. Also, we'll talk about this this particular player here, this Hiby R6 Pro. If you have a Tidal subscription, this is where this is really beneficial. You can stream high res audio from Tidal, and this particular unit will allow you to do that. So if you have a Tidal subscription, you just basically download the app on this particular unit here, and you can play it. And so basically, you don't have to constantly buy the high resolution audio. You can actually, or the files, you can actually just stream them, and you can actually save them on this unit. And this is a 32 gigabyte version, and this version has Android on it, the latest version of Android. It's got Google Play Store on it, so you can download any Android app you want to on this thing, even though this is primarily a music player, and it's got some really good features on it, and I'll touch on some of them when I do the comparison between this unit and the Sony. This is a very heavy unit. It's made out of stainless steel, and they also make an aluminum version, and this is probably one of the best ones on the market right now. You're looking at about maybe $799, between $599 and $799 is kind of what I'm seeing. Sony does make a high-end version. It's like $2,000, but it doesn't even have Wi-Fi built in it, so I don't know. I'm not really sure what that's about, and maybe I'll have to review that later on. Well, as of right now, this Hiby R6 Pro is one of the best units, high resolution players on the market, and it can play all of the FLAC and the WAV files and all the high resolution files that's out there that basically Tidal has, and there's a few other websites that also play back high resolution audio, but I mentioned Tidal because that's the most common one and most people have heard of Tidal. This unit here, the Sony, it can play back high resolution audio, at 44 kilohertz and 48 and 96 and 192 kilohertz. You can play all of those sampling rates. It's just that it's limited on features. It does have an SD card slot on it, but it's just a player. It doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi. It doesn't have Android. It's got a proprietary software from Sony. So it sounds good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's a bad sounding player, but it really depends on the type of headphone that you're using. That's the reason why I have these two headphones here, to give you some idea the things you need to consider if you decide to go with high resolution players. Now, this is really not a headphone review, but I have both these headphones here for a reason. These are very high-end headphones. These are what they call Sennheiser's HD 650s. These headphones, very many audiophiles they speak very highly. These are very, very high quality, very, very good sounding headphones, but they require an amp that can actually really push them. This lower end Sony cannot push or has enough power for these Sony. For this Sennheiser HD 650s. Now I do have some Sony headphones here. These are the newest noise cancellation. I think it's WH100 or 1000 MX3s, I believe. These are noise cancellation headphones. Now these sound really well with these particular players here because they don't have as much output. The amp is not as high. But let me tell you the thing you consider. One of the main reasons why these headphones are priced differently and why they may sound different, because these actually have what they call a higher impedance. These headphones here have about 300 impedance, so they're harder to push. And that's the reason why if you have high-end headphones already, then you need to buy a player such as the Hiby BR6 Pro, which has has a powerful amp. Unfortunately, this particular Sony here does not have the power to drive. So if you were to buy these headphones, the Sennheiser 650s, HD 650s, and use it with this particular amp, you're not going to get the full benefit from these headphones because they require so much power, and these just don't have it. These, on the other hand, this particular one, the Hiby BR6 Pro, definitely has the power. Now, there's another thing to consider too. If you decide to go into high-res digital audio players, there's a certain output called a balanced output, and a balanced output. Actually, even though there's two headphone ports on here, one your standard headphone port that you can plug your regular headphones into that you probably have laying around the house, and then you have what they call a balanced output. And this output normally requires a different type of tip, and you might have to. And this right here is a 4.4 millimeter tip, so this won't fit into your normal headphone route, but it'll fit into the balance. If you go with the balanced output on these particular units here, the output is even higher. So this unit is more than capable of driving these headphones. Unfortunately, the Sony NWA45 does not have the power to push these headphones. Now, these have lower impedance. So when you're thinking about headphones, normally the higher quality headphones have a higher impedance. So these probably have like maybe 50, I don't know, 50. I'm not really sure what the impedance is, but it's maybe around 50, 60, 75, 70 or something like that. But these are easier to push. So a particular player like this, high-res player with a low power amp could easily drive these. But if you're going with these high-end ones, specifically these Sennheiser HD 650s, either you're going to have to use a higher amp, or you have to get an external amp. Now, there's something that I have here that if you are set on, if you've already downloaded Tidal on your cell phone and you don't want to go buy another player, but you want to get the benefits of Tidal, and you want to have a really good amp because your cell phone is not going to have the amp, you can buy what they call a headphone amp, and this is by a company called FIO. And this particular headphone amp actually plugs into there's a connector on the bottom of this unit that plugs in. There's another cable that connects to the bottom of your cell phone, and this actually boosts the output of your cell phone. And this also has a balanced output on it too, so it really can push these headphones here a lot harder. You have a better chance of hearing how these headphones were intended to be heard if you have a headphone amp that you can use with your cell phone. If you just want to, you don't want to have a headphone, carry around the headphones, or carry around a cell phone and amp, just get the Hiby BR6 Pro. There's a lot of features this thing have, and I probably could just do a review on this by itself, but I kind of wanted to give people that are considering to go into high-res audio some things to consider. So a real quick recap: the Hiby BR6 Pro has built-in Wi-Fi. You can stream Tidal. Has a powerful amp. You can drive higher-end headphones. The Sony NW45. N45. That's actually Sony NWA45. Amp is not as powerful. Most likely will be better for maybe headphones. That's maybe not headphones that's not as expensive. It can play back all the type of high-res files like FLAC and WAVE and several other DSD, all these different type of high-resolution audio formats. So you can play files up to 192 kilohertz, all the way down to 44, and it can also play MP3 also, but you don't buy these players to play MP3 files. So anyway, that's kind of everything in a nutshell. You know, the lower end Sony N45, still a good player. If you're really bent on just sticking with your cell phone, but you want to get the benefits of Tidal or other streaming services that stream high resolution audio, then get you a headphone amp. There's a lot of different models out there. Just go online and just review, you know, look at different reviews, and or even just go to the what I would like to do is I like to look at the ratings. You know, I go to Amazon, I look at the ratings, and it gives me a good idea, you know, because sometimes people may have had bad experience with stuff, so sometimes you want to know about that. So anyway, thank you very much for logging in or watching my YouTube channel. If you like what you heard, just click the subscribe button below, and then any new video that I post, you'll get to hear it. All right, thank you very much, and have a good day.